Business Buzz, an insightful and fresh take on a variety of issues that impact the local business environment. This is where we address the business topics that matter. Here's your host, Anita Khan.
Good morning. It's 15 minutes after 8 o'clock. Thank you so much for tuning into Radio Cayman and joining us on the Business Buzz. If you're on the roads this morning, making your way into work, take your time, be patient, stay in your lane. Don't move from lane to lane. Just stay in your lane. It's annoying, but just want to remind you to be safe. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks to our listeners, of viewers on YouTube, to producer of the Business Buzz, Miss Susan Watson. Susan is in the next room. Good morning, Susan. And of course, good morning to our guests in the studio. We're quite excited to tell you all about Cayman Crime Stoppers. I want to know more, and I'm pretty sure they're all ready to get us and to inform us of what's happening this morning. We have three guests in the studio. What I'm going to do, I'll let him introduce himself, and I'll start with a beautiful young lady to my left.
Thank you. Beautiful was a bit.
Good morning.
Thank you for having us. My name is Lauren Riley-Gladhill. I'm a director of College School Corporate Services, and I sit as a director and the secretary of Cayman Crime Stoppers.
Good morning, Lauren, and it's wonderful to have you in the studio. Good morning to you, to our next guest sitting right next to you.
Hey, thank you. Good morning. My name is Juliet Goodin, and I'm the former director of 911, and I'm also a board member with Cayman Crime Stoppers.
She's another beautiful young lady.
Oh, thank you.
And she's, Miss Juliet, it's good to meet you after all these years. I've seen you around, but we've never met formally.
And I know your voice.
So it's good to have you in the studio. And the only gentleman in the room this morning. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Amol Kagde, and our company name is Sunmol Software, and we build softwares. Yeah, we build we build softwares, and then we build mobile apps. And we are the one who build mobile app for the Crime Stoppers.
Thank you, Amal, and we'll hear more about that in a bit.
Sure.
But in the meantime, let's get some background information, some background history on Cayman Crime Stoppers. I was off cue. I was saying I don't have any knowledge of Cayman Crime Stoppers, so I'm excited to hear a whole lot more this morning. And I know Miss Juliet and Lauren and Amal, they're ready to give it to us. So let's get some background and history on Cayman Crime Stoppers. Those of you who make up the board and the partners who you work with.
Sure, absolutely. So thank you.
So Lauren's going to take that.
Yes. So thank you once again for having us
You're very
today,
welcome.
giving us the opportunity to speak on behalf of Cayman Crime Stoppers. We're really proud and excited to announce the formal launch of the Cayman Crime Stoppers app. The purpose really of a discussion today is to talk a bit about reintroducing ourselves, who we are, what we're trying to achieve, and also to go through a little bit about what the app looks like and how to ultimately access it. So just in relation to your first question about the history of Crime Stoppers, so Cayman Crime Stoppers is a non-for-profit organisation that is registered and governed here in the Cayman Islands. We were formed in 1993, so quite a long time ago, and we are a long-standing pillar of the community, and our ultimate mission really is to prevent and help fight crime. Given that the levels and variations of crime in the Cayman Islands is somewhat escalating, an institution like us is really important because we provide a mechanism by which we can mitigate some of the crimes that are committed, and we work very closely with the RCIPS. May I stress that we are independent, but our main aim is to try and create a safe and harmonious environment for all of the community within the Cayman Islands. Ultimately, our mission statement really is to create a confidential and anonymous mechanism by which the general public can submit tips to the police, who then will be able to investigate and which hopefully will lead to an arrest, charge and conviction. So in terms of the benefits of having an institution like Cayman Crime Stoppers, it's multifaceted. So not only are we fighting crime, we are catching criminals. Ultimately, want to create a safer environment for Cayman, but also if there are any successful arrests and charges, then the tipster who came forward with the tip will be repatriated with a monetary reward. In terms of the reward profile, it all really depends on the severity and the intricacies of the crime committed. So just in terms of the board composition, so as you can appreciate, with us having a 30-year history, there has been a lot of changes in terms of the board composition, but our current board consists of both new members and old members. And one of the key benefits, I think, to the composition currently is that there's 10 of us, but we are from a number of different sectors within the Cayman Islands. So we have representation from legal, from the tourism sector, IT, government, and also the former director of the 911, which is absolutely fantastic to fighting our cause. In terms of the strategy that we have wanted to create with the new and old members, is that we wanted to devise a jurisdictional specific strategy, and having members from different sectors of the community obviously lends extremely well to that. One of the main strategies we had a strategy away day, and one of the key strategies that we wanted to focus on was trying to digitalise and modernise the way that Crime Stoppers works, but also in terms of our reach to the wider community. We want to be more present and to provide people with more information about how they can submit tips and how they can collaborate with us better. In terms of, as part of this strategy session that we had, we decided to do some analysis into the previous workflow, and we determined that there were a number of forthcomings that we needed to really remediate. So firstly, doing some trend analysis in terms of the types of tips that were being submitted previously. The Cayman Crime Stoppers website previously had .ky, and unfortunately we noticed that there was a trend of tips being submitted from Kentucky, which obviously is not very great in terms of trying to get Cayman-centric tips. Yeah. So Amal has kindly modernised our website, and now it's caymancrimestopers.com. So we've removed the KY entirely. So hopefully that will eliminate any Kentucky-based tips being submitted.
Yes, spam tips.
Yeah, exactly. And then secondly, the previous workflow is that we utilised a call centre, but the call centre was not in Cayman. Just from a resource perspective, we couldn't collaborate with a call centre on shore. The issue fundamentally there was no evidence of this, but something that we wanted to consider is that if there was a tip that was submitted that needed a timely response from the RCIPS, there could be a lag in terms of the transfer of information across back to the RCIPS. So what we decided to do as part of this process was to remove the reliance on the call centre and create other mechanisms by which tips can be submitted that will go straight to the RCIPS as soon as the tip has been submitted. So if there is any time sensitivity around investigations, it can occur straight away as opposed to waiting for the potential lag. And then thirdly, the last forthcoming, or not necessarily forthcoming, but what we wanted to really try and achieve was trying to modernise Cayman Crime Stoppers. So we have had a website revamp. We've worked on the tip workflow, but also we want to be more present on socials. Everyone's on social media these days, and we didn't historically have visibility on those platforms. So we now have Instagram, Facebook, we have LinkedIn, and it's something that, as part of this relaunch, we are going to be, putting more notices out there, and also collaborating with the Cayman Compass. We've got an article coming out very shortly to provide more information. So, yeah, that's really it in terms of what the strategy that we're trying to achieve from a board composition. I suppose the only other point is who we utilise as our partners. So our main partner is the wider community. Without the community submitting tips, then Cayman Crime Stoppers would be completely redundant and pointless somewhat. Our other main partner is the RCIPS. So we have a very strong relationship with the RCIPS. Obviously, we are independent, just a second time to mention that. And we've had a number of meetings with them to discuss how we can collaborate better and to go through the new revised workflow in terms of how tips have been submitted. And it's been a really positive collaboration, and we look forward to working with them even further. I suppose the only kind of other partner maybe to mention is that whilst we liaise with the RCIPS, we do partner with other governmental institutions. So I think a common misconception about submitting tips is that tips received should only be for robbery, gun-related crimes, drugs, but also people can submit tips for other types of crimes such as animal cruelty, immigration, customs. So with the assistance of the RCIPS, they can forward it to the relevant governmental bodies who then can perform the investigation and then hopefully come to some resolve.
How about littering?
Yeah, littering. I know interestingly, I know in the UK that they have a very strong environmental law, and that they have officers that do actually go around and fine people for littering. So, I mean, that's something that definitely has increased somewhat. You see notices that people are just dumping, litter. So if you see someone littering, the advantage with the app is that you can take a picture of the car that's dumping all of this stuff on the side of the road. It will come through the workflow to the RCIPS to then investigate. So yeah, that would be another instance where you can submit a tip.
I love that.
You can even take a pictures. Yeah, you can send pictures. You can send video. You can just record and submit. That will come as a tip basically, and also you can record basically. You can just talk, right? You can just talk. It will automatically convert that as a text and it will submit.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say. Sweet. No, by using the app, am I remaining anonymous?
Yes,
Am I still anonymous?
Yes, still. Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure, a lot of folks out there want to make sure that they're being anonymous is what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Confidentiality and being anonymous is the cornerstone of what we're trying to achieve here, and the way that the new app has been built is that we do not have direct contact with the person submitting the tip. It will go through a centralised a database. So to reconfirm to the wider community, when you submit a tip, it is completely anonymous and completely confidential.
So as soon as I activate my say I'm always littering, and I upload the video and all of that, it goes directly to the RCIPS.
Yeah.
There's no middleman.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so one thing as a caveat to that is that once the tip is submitted, it will go to a centralised database which will sit in the middle of the tipster and the RCIPS. I say that the middleman really is just a process. It is just transferring the information, but it creates another level of confidentiality.
And it also, I believe, it automatically generates a reference number, so that if the tipster needs to come back and say to check to see whether their tip was successful or not, they have that number that becomes
a reference number.
Yeah.
They just need to note down that reference number when they submit new tip.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So is Cayman Crime Stoppers a member of any regional body, or are you affiliated with the global organization Crime Stoppers International?
Yeah,
I see heads shaking.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Cayman Crime Stoppers is part of the Crime Stoppers International Group, and we are affiliated with the Caribbean, Bermuda, and Latin America regional office. Okay. We have frequent interactions with these guys, primarily due to the similarity in crime profiling, demographics, and instances like that. And under the guidance of our chairman, Stephen Leontinis, we've been able to positively collaborate with the group and share a number of thoughts and ideas and things that could benefit multi-jurisdictional. So that has been a really positive collaboration, and it occurs on a very, very frequent basis. We are invited to present, to attend training sessions for jurisdictional specific crimes and typologies. So yes, we are indeed.
You're very busy too. I mean, you all have regular jobs, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
Kudos to everyone. Now, who administers the Cayman Crime Stoppers, the program, and how is it funded? I'm sure that's an important part of this whole organization.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I suppose from a corporate governance perspective, the day-to-day running of Cayman Crime Stoppers is the board of directors. We all donate our time. And yes, we all have full-time jobs as well, so it's very busy for us. I'm the secretary, so I'm responsible for the corporate administration. Obviously, Cayman Crime Stoppers is an entity, so it has to comply with the company's regulations here. So we rely on the generosity of Collis Krill Corporate Services to assist us with any regulatory filings that go on. In terms of the tip platform, that's Amol's company, Samwell Software, who assists with not only the tip but also the socials, the website design and things like that. And I mean, just in terms of how we are funded, we rely on the generosity of the wider community to donate. We also rely heavily on corporate sponsors. We have I know we were just speaking previously, but we're going to be doing another golf event this year, so we're going to be inviting some of our corporate sponsors along to try and get some donations in. And then lastly, I think the biggest donor of us really is the government. So the government have donated very generously to us over the last couple of years. I suppose the only nuance is that the government's donations are really kind of ring-fenced for certain severe crimes.
Okay. We've got to take a break. Oops. If you're just joining us, you're listening to the Business Buzz. I'm your host, Anita Khan. I have in the studio from Cayman Crime Stoppers this morning, Lauren Riley Gledhill, Amal Kadeh, and Juliet Gooden. Hope I didn't mess up all the names. They're all directors who sit on the board of Cayman Crime Stoppers. When we come back from the break, and speaking of break, we want to say thank you to our sponsor this morning, Cayman Insurance Center. When we come back from our break, we'll have Amal take the hot seat and tell us all about the Crime Stoppers app and all the important things that we need to know.
I'm Michael Webster.
And I'm Denise Brown of Cayman Insurance Center.
Family is not the most important thing, it's everything.
And for 45 years, we have worked with the community and their families on protecting themselves for the future.
Whether it's providing top-rated life insurance
or protecting your family's household investment.
From our family to yours, we understand and we care.
I'm Denise Brown. Call me at 814-7229.
And I'm Michael Webster at 925-5433.
We are Cayman Insurance Center,
specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services at an affordable rate. We are Michael and
Denise at Cayman Insurance Center.
Call today.
It's time to celebrate 40 years of Cayman Carnival Batabanoo. 40 years of tradition, culture, making history. Experience the rhythm, the energy, the excitement of Batabanoo under the theme All Nations One Celebration. On Saturday, May 6th, celebrate Cayman Islands, Honduras, Jamaica, India, Cuba, Panama, Mexico, Trinidad, and the U.S. through music, dance, and stunning costumes. The parade starts at 1 p.m. from 7 Mile Public Beach and ends at Seafarers Way, Georgetown. For the food festival and the last lap street dance with 3 music stages to enjoy. Cayman Carnival Batabanoo, Saturday, May 6th, starting at 1 p.m. from 7 Mile Beach. Join us celebrating 40 years of a colorful melting pot of nations. Visit CaymanCarnival.com for more information.
Vaccines are as important to your overall health as diet and exercise, like eating healthy foods, exercising, and getting regular checkups. Vaccines play a vital role in keeping you healthy. Vaccines are one of the safest preventative care measures available. Get up to date with vaccinations you or your children may have missed. Call the Public Health Department today on 244-2648 to schedule your appointment. This message is brought to you by the Public Health Department in conjunction with the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Saturday evening at 8 o'clock, you're invited to tune in to Your Yesteryear Musical on Breeze Radio for a CI flashback relevant to the end of World War II in Europe, May the 8th, 1945, and some Child Month relevant music. May is Child Month in the Cayman Islands. Your Yesteryear Musical, entertaining, enlightening, and inspirational. Your Yesteryear Musical, Saturday evenings at 8 o'clock on Breeze Radio. Entertaining, enlightening, and inspirational. Topical with CI cultural and heritage flashbacks and the wonderful music of yesteryear, from the Thomas Edison era to the recent past. Your Yesteryear Musical, Saturdays at 8 p.m. on Breeze Radio, 105.3 FM in Grand Cayman, and 91.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. We'll look to have you tuned in.
Business Buzz. Business Buzz with your host, Anita Khan.
Good morning and welcome back to the Business Buzz. Today we only have one segment, and we're speaking with Lauren Riley Gledhill, Amal Kadeh, and Juliet Gooding, all directors who sit on the board of Cayman Crime Stoppers. And I'm learning so much this morning. He's hoping that you are paying attention and learning as well. If you have any questions or suggestions, they will take your call. I've got permission. So let's turn our attention to Amal. Amal, can you tell us about the Cayman Crime Stoppers app and all the important points surrounding submitting tips?
Okay,
You're
yeah,
the
sure.
man this morning.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Yeah, so first thing first, Cayman Crime Stoppers website URL. It is caymancrimestoppers.com. Yeah, that can be open as a www.caymancrimestoppers.com.
Okay.
Or like you can just enter caymancrimestoppers.com. Or you can just type in Google basically, just Cayman Crime Stoppers, and that URL will comes up basically, and then you can click on it. And on website you have menus, basically home menu. So under home menu you can read about Cayman Crime Stoppers and policies and terms and conditions. And there is menu submit a tip basically. Under that menu you have option to submit tip from website itself. So you have to provide only summary of crime, okay, like in short basically. Then location of crime, then date of incident, any persons, okay, any persons involved, and then more information if you have any more information. If you don't have, it's optional. And then if you want to provide any picture, or if you want to provide any video, small video, or if you want to provide any audio, basically you can provide that. And that's it. And once tip has been submitted, you will see one reference number, tip reference number, that you need to note down. And using that tip reference number only, you are going to get communicated, and you will get status of tip. You will get to know like all information and more questions about that basically from website.
Okay.
And about app is available on App Store and Play Store. And you just need to search by like Cayman Crime Stoppers, or even like app is available since long time, I think since 2-3 months, 4 months, I think. So it is available. So you can just in Cayman, if you just say Crime Stoppers, it should come up basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't have like 6 jumping up at you, and you're not sure which one to click on.
No.
It's just
one. It will come at top. Yeah.
Once you see Cayman.
Yeah.
Okay.
It will come at top, and there is logo basically, Cayman Crime Stopper logo, so you should be able to identify quickly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And one more thing, like when you are submitting tip or when you are downloading app, you don't need to provide any personal details. Yeah. You don't need to provide any personal details, name, email, or anything. It is just like you have to download, and then you have option to see, you have option to read about Cayman Crime Stoppers. You have option to submit a tip, and you have option to check tip status by using a reference number. And from app as well, you have to provide same details like summary of crime or incident, location, date of incident, and then persons involved. And then more information if you have, and if you want to provide like any picture, or if you want to provide any audio or video, yeah, you can quickly submit that, and that's it.
It's that easy.
Yeah, that yeah.
It's that easy.
Yeah.
And how long did this take you to put together, Amal?
Yeah, we was working on this since I think last year, like just 1 year. Yeah. Because we have like our other job as well, right? That's the reason it takes time actually. Yeah, but app was ready since like last 5 months or something like that.
Yeah. And you have your own company.
Yeah.
Samal, it's
a Sunmol software.
Sunmol software.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a free plug for your company.
Yeah, thank you.
And you have to bear in mind as well too, when doing the app, obviously we all had on the board had different questions. So before we kind of launched it, we all had to kind of figure it out. We also had to test it to make sure it's working. So there was a testing period. Testing period and so on, to make sure that everything is ready to go.
Yeah, and I suppose also from the perspective of the RCIPS, we had a lot of backwards and forwards with them in terms of how they want to see the information disseminated on the page, what tabs would be useful to them. So yeah, I mean it's taken a bit of a time to get up to a point where we can launch it, but we wanted to make sure that everything, that the process in itself was completely streamlined, and that the RCIPS were happy with the information that they were able to see when the tip is submitted.
Yeah. So has anyone used it as yet?
Yeah.
The app.
Yeah. We saw tips are coming through. Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously, we don't have any information about what the tips actually mean, but from a kind of audit perspective, we can see when tips are being submitted.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, if there's an arrest and completion of a case, how will the tipster receive their reward without being identified?
Well, that's a question we get quite a bit, because people obviously want to remain anonymous. So the process is that once the tip goes in and it goes to RCIPS, the caller automatically gets a reference number. So they should keep that number, make sure they keep it in a safe place. And if that tip is successful in terms of the police arresting and charging someone, then they will let us know. It's a success. The caller should be checking on a regular basis to see if their tip has, been successful, as I said. And once that hits the success mark, then the conversation is they determine how they want to be paid. Again, we don't have access to their phone numbers, so we can't call them and say, hey, your tip is a success, so come and collect your money. So it's up to them to then tell us how they want to have their money paid. Some people choose to leave the anonymous perspective at that point, and they might say, write me a check. Others remain anonymous by saying, can you put the money in cash, put it somewhere, or give it to somebody, I'll collect it from somewhere. So they determine how anonymous they remain at that point in terms of how they receive the money. So we're pretty flexible, as Lauren was saying earlier, in terms of how we pay that money out.
I'll take cash.
Cash is always good.
Now, Ms. Juliet, what are the 3 questions asked, or normally asked by the public about Cayman Crime Stoppers? I'm sure you get more than 3, but what are the 3 main questions?
The main thing I found is that people want to be sure and absolutely sure that they're going to remain anonymous. That is very, very important, because people are scared that if Lauren knows that it's me telling on her, then Lauren is going to come to my house and that kind of stuff. So people want to have that peace of mind, and that is why the app and the way we're doing the process now is going to reassure people that they're going to have that anonymity. That word, I was trying to not to say that. But so they determine how they're going to be paid, and based on the process, we don't have any information, we don't see it. So that's question 1. The other one was the one I just answered, and how do they get paid?
Right.
And the third question I think people ask is about the confidentiality, and that all ties into what I was saying before. We have no access to your information, we have no access to your details. We don't even see all of the information you're posting about the crime. So that goes to RCIPS, and it keeps it totally separate. Okay. I'm always mentioning that the app itself, it doesn't track your IP address either. So it's not like we can plug in and do a reverse search or anything like that to see who is saying what.
Yeah.
Okay. Cayman is a very small community, and I would like to know if I submit a tip that, like you mentioned earlier, I can feel safe.
Yes, absolutely.
I know I'm being truthful. I give what I can, help how I can, but I want to remain safe.
Yes.
So that's
absolutely.
a good way.
And I want to share just a quick experience. When I worked in Turks and Caicos for 3 years, and one of the things that happened there when it came to crime is that the community was basically saying, we're not going to tell on our people. And so it was very difficult for crime to be solved. So we're hoping that here in Cayman now, people are recognizing that giving a tip means that you're also creating a safe space for you, a safe environment, a safe community. So we are hoping that people will not have that fear. We're trying to make it as confidential and anonymous as possible to release that fear. So we're hoping that people will now start to use the system.
Okay. Now, how can you share some information on your future objectives and how Crime Stoppers will go about engaging within the community?
Well, we've talked for a while in relation to how we're going to get into the schools, because if you look at the app and all the social media, it's geared for the young people for the most part. And they're the ones that are here, there, and everywhere, and they have a lot of information. They know everything that's going on. So we believe that the apps are going to encourage them as well to use them. But we're talking about going into the schools because they have different activities in school where it's going to be appropriate to talk about crime and how you can help. And then going into the community, they have a lot of community groups who meet and they talk about protecting their individual communities. So we want to be able to tap into that. But I know that we're doing social media. We're looking at press releases, getting involved with you as well in the radio section. Thank you for your business card. So we're reaching out in those kind of areas to get the word out. We're up and we're running, and we're waiting for you to give us the information that we need.
Do you normally liaise with the RCIPS's what's it called, Neighborhood Watch?
That's part of the whole in terms of so that's where we talk about community involvement. Yes.
Okay.
And sometimes people actually say, can you come and talk to our group, because I'm just starting a little group in my street, and they may ask for you to come in and give information as well. So we are using every opportunity, and we are soon going to have some billboards, signs up, street signs, so they'll see us promoting how to use and post in the app information, website information. Yeah.
Thank you so much. We're going to take a quick break. Thanks to Cayman Insurance Center for coming on board and sponsoring the Business Buzz. In the studio this morning, Lauren Riley Gledhill, Amal Kadeh, and Ms. Juliet Gooden, all directors who sit on the board of Cayman Crime Stoppers.
I'm Michael Webster.
And I'm Denise Brown of Cayman Insurance Center.
Family is not the most important thing, it's everything.
And for 45 years, we have worked with the community and their families on protecting themselves for the future.
Whether it's providing top-rated life insurance
or protecting your family's household investment.
From our family to yours, we understand and we care.
I'm Denise Brown. Call me at 814-7229.
And I'm Michael Webster at 925-5433.
We are Cayman Insurance Center,
specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services at an affordable rate. We are Michael and
Denise at Cayman Insurance Center.
Call today.
Attention Georgetown residents. The Department of Environmental Health Georgetown Bulk Waste Collection will take place between May 8th to the 13th. This bulk waste collection will replace the traditional year-end collection. Household appliances, furniture, and other items too large to be handled by the weekly DEH collection crews should be placed by the roadside where it is easily accessible to DEH collection crews. Metals and vegetation should also be separated from other bulk items. Do not obstruct the roadway or storm drains or place tires, construction and demolition waste, hazardous materials or electronics. For more information on the Georgetown Bulk Waste Collection from May 8th to the 13th, please contact DEH's Solid Waste Management Section at 949-6696.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach. Business Buzz. Business Buzz with your host,
Anita Khan.
Welcome back to the Business Buzz. If you're just joining us, well, you've missed a whole lot of what the Cayman Crime Stoppers can do. So let's tell you who we have in the studio. We have Lauren Riley Gledhill, Amal Kadeh, and Ms. Juliet Gooding. Now, are there sponsorship opportunities for corporations or individuals who may wish to partner with Cayman Crime Stoppers in assisting in your crime fighting efforts?
Absolutely. So as noted previously, we rely on the donations from the general public. Also, we rely on donations from corporate sponsors and also the government. But with that said, we're always looking for an opportunity to collaborate and partner with other individuals or corporate sponsors. So if anyone out there would like to donate, please do. There is a number of ways that you can do it, primarily from the app or the website. But as part of our future strategy, for going into this year, we are going to kind of revisit the current sponsors, previous sponsors, and also going out to a number of new potential corporate sponsors to see if we can get some additional funding.
And you've been around for 30 years. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And now you're stronger with the app.
Yeah.
App makes everything so much easier.
Yeah.
You know, and there's an app for everything.
Yeah.
There's an app for want to take a shower that Amal is gonna work on for the next 6 months, right, Amal? No. What kind of crimes, Cayman Crime Stoppers? What kind of crimes do you take tips on? You did mention some, and the types of crime that Cayman Crime Stoppers that you've helped to solve over those 30 years.
Sure, absolutely.
If you can
I've only
put it all
been
together.
With the board for 2 years, but I can kind of speak to the wider group, I suppose. So predominantly the tips that we've received, and obviously to confirm, we don't have visibility on what the tips are, but from speaking with the RCIPS, who are able to provide us with some high-level information as to types of trends that they are seeing. Predominantly what we see is crimes in relation to assaults, also some, misdemeanor behaviour in the streets. Also, drink driving is another one that we see quite frequently. But just in terms of what tips, what attempts of crimes that can be submitted, it really varies, and it can be anything. If you deem something to be suspicious, or you see something that is not correct, you are more than welcome to submit it through the tip. So as I mentioned earlier, animal cruelty, if there's anything from an immigration perspective that you don't think is appropriate or legal. Also customs, again, is something that that seems to be on the rise. So yeah, in terms of the crimes that can be submitted through the app, it can pretty much do everything. And the advantage, I suppose, I know we were talking about littering. It's like if you see something and you're not necessarily sure who the right people are to go to raise the concern, the advantage of submitting it through the app is that it will go straight directly to the RCIPS, who will be able to then distribute or liaise with another governmental body who it's relevant to. So, for example, the DOE or the DEH, who will then be able to resolve the issue, rather than kind of waiting a couple of weeks to try and work out who the right person is to speak with.
Now, what are some of the stats? Can you give us with the success of the Cayman Crime Stoppers as you're here, Lauren?
Sure. Yeah. So
over the years.
Yeah. In terms of the statistics, the Cayman Crime Stoppers has been very integral and positive to the community of Cayman. Obviously, as noted previously, some of the tips that we were receiving were not Cayman centric, so we have resolved that, and we're going to, going forward, be able to only process Cayman specific tips. But we have had a number of success stories in the past, only from feedback from the RCIPS, because obviously we don't have visibility on what the tips actually show. But we have received positive feedback from the RCIPS, and there have been a number of instances over the course of history of Cayman Crime Stoppers where tips have led to successful arrests, charges, and also convictions.
And I guess you solved some of those crimes in Kentucky as well. Now, what are some misconceptions that persons may have of the Crime Stoppers program, if you want to share some, Ms. Juliet?
I think some of the misconceptions, we kind of touched on them earlier in terms of having their information, having the people's individual information, and that we're having these conversations with RCIPS. Sometimes... people, I think another misconception is that if I give a tip, I'm not going to get my money. And again, the conditions are that if your tip leads to an arrest and a charge, it's not even so much of a conviction, but a charge and an arrest. So we're trying to reassure people that that's not the case. Once you've given us a tip and our CIPS has done their investigation and they've connected the dots and it's all positive in the outcome, then you are going to get that tip as promised. So I think those are some of the misconceptions.
Yeah, and absolutely. And just to jump in on that point, so historically, tips were only being rewarded for convictions, but the court system, it could take 2 years to get a conviction. So as part of the fine-tuning of our reward profile, we have amended it so that it only relates to an arrest and charge as opposed to a conviction. So if someone sees in the newspaper that someone has been charged and they have submitted a tip, they can check straight away rather than remembering 3 years down the line, or this individual has been convicted, or maybe I should go check my tip.
Yeah.
I always wondered about that.
Yeah, and I also think that based on what used to happen in the past in terms of having to dial 1-800-TIPS or that kind of stuff, and then it goes to Florida, and then they have to wait, as Lauren alluded to earlier, everything is a lot more instantaneous. It's a lot easier. It's a lot faster. So people don't have to wait and then wonder what's happening. And you usually hear people saying, I don't trust, when you dial this 1-800 number, I don't trust it. It's in Florida, but I don't believe that. But because of the anonymity of the whole app and so on, I think that people are going to begin to have a lot more confidence, and I think that you're going to see the reports coming in, the tips going in will probably increase.
Okay. And Amal, can you remind our listeners and our viewers how they can get to the app, just in case you don't know?
Yeah, they can go to the App Store or Play Store, and they can search like Cayman Crime Stoppers or just Crime Stoppers, and then app will comes up and they can just download and install on their phone. Yeah, so it can work on Android phone and iPhone as well. Yeah, and also like if they, like for example, they don't have phone access, right? They can go to the website, and from websites also they can submit tip, and they can check tip status as well. and website URL is caymancrimestoppers.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We're almost down to the wire, but before I let you, the three of you go, can you, if you would like to recap or remind our listeners about something that we missed out on? Miss Juliet, you got a look on your face like you want to remind them of something.
Oh no! I think everyone did pretty good in terms of presenting what Crime Stoppers is doing now. But I think we need to talk about the golf tournament. So that is something that we used to do in the past. COVID kind of stopped a lot of our activities. So the golf tournament is back on the table, as Lauren said. And so that's where we're going to be reaching out to the corporate entities to get them involved in that as well. We really need businesses to realize that when we are reducing crime in the Cayman Islands, it also helps their business. So we want them to be partners as far as that is concerned.
Now, we've seen, or I've seen over the years, where there's a particular crime that took place, and there's someone offering, an individual offering a tip. Now, does it go through Crime Stoppers? How does that work?
Yes. So I think I know the exact one. So was it last year, a couple of years ago? So yes, if an individual wants to donate to a specific crime that has occurred, maybe it touches their heart, maybe it's something that's familiar to them, they can do it. So you can do it anonymously, and what we would do in our socials is just promote the fact that we have additional donations for a specific crime that has been committed. Also, the individual who makes the donation can go public with the information in further support to note that there is an additional donation on top of what would be rewarded by the Cayman Crime Stoppers if there was a successful arrest and charge.
Okay. That clears that up. Because I was wondering about that. Now, the data that you receive now via the app, when there's an arrest and what again? Charge. What happens to that data? Is it removed from the database? Amal?
Yeah, so the Cayman Crime Stoppers, as an entity here in the Cayman Islands, has to comply with the Data Protection Act. So obviously, I mean, the nuance, I suppose, is that the data subject in this case would be anonymous. But yes, as soon as a tip has been cleared, there is a function on the back end to remove all traces of information. The only nuance, I suppose, is if a crime was committed, an individual might want to add to an existing tip. However, the information will be completely wiped. So they would probably be beneficial to submit a completely new tip in its entirety.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Amal.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
you're great.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Anything else you'd like to leave with our listeners this morning? Let's start with you, Lauren.
No, thank you again for having us and giving us the opportunity to speak to the wider community. The Cayman Crime Stoppers is a fantastic organisation, and I do hope that our discussion today will promote Cayman Crime Stoppers, get people to submit tips, because ultimately we want to help reduce crime and make Cayman Islands a safer environment to live in for all.
Yeah.
You're very welcome. Amal?
Yeah, that's it, I think, yeah. That's it from my side as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
How were you, Ms. Juliet?
Well, I'm encouraging people to get on the board. Obviously, some board members will move on. So we're trying to get people very interested in being a part of the board as well. Trying to remind the young generation who are out there seeing what's going on to keep that app on their phone. And as soon as they see a crime happening, we know that they upload a lot of stuff on Facebook and so on. So instead of sending it to Facebook, they can give us the tips on Cayman Crime Stoppers. So just encouraging the corporate community as well to do their part. We have to partner together to make this all a success.
Okay. Well, I'd like to say thank you to the three of you, and I wish you well.
Thank you.
And whatever tip I have, I'll definitely utilize the app.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
And I'll call you and let you know. No, I can't do that. I can't do that.
No, we want you to remain anonymous.
Well, thank you so much.
You can just have that tip reference number and you can check it on app itself. Yeah,
that's right. So listeners, you know what to do. Amal, thank you so much. Amal Kadey, Lauren O'Reilly Gledhill, and Ms. Juliet Goodin.
Thank you.
All directors who sit on the board of Crime Stoppers. Thank you so much for being in the studio this morning. I've learned so much. Susan, did you learn a lot? Yep. Susan put the script together, but she got us all in her head, right, Sue? And she passes it on. Thank you so much. Thanks to Susan for putting this together. And, of course, to you, our listeners, our YouTube viewers, and our guests in the studio. Until Tuesday, May 9th, when we bring another Business Buzz. I was going to say bulletin board. In the meantime, please stay safe. Have a good weekend. It's Coronation Weekend. Are you all ready for this? Yes, I am. I'm all excited. Please have a good day, and goodbye from me, Anita Khan.
Here is where tradition never dies. This is your radio, Cayman.